The Appointments Clause requires that Jack Smith and everything Jack Smith has done be killed because he was pulled out of The Hague in an inferior position. That's not an American government position. He wasn't confirmed by the Senate. You can't just pick any lawyer off the street and say, I delegate this enormous power. Judge Cannon, Aileen Cannon, this is a real judge, which is why they hate her at MSLSD and the Constipated News Network, the New York Slimes. That would be the Stalin-supporting, Holocaust covering up, Cuba, Castro enshrining New York Times. Am I repeating that too much? There's a reason for it. I know I sound like some host on TV, but I'm repeating it for a reason, because nobody else is talking about it. And I want that to be in everybody's cranium. This is a bloodlust newspaper that has blood on its pages and blood on its hands. That said, this Judge Cannon has been superb. She's taking these motions seriously. Like the challenge on whether or not the appointment of Jack Smith was constitutional. You have two former attorneys general who have filed a brief saying this violates the Appointments Clause of the Constitution. This is a presidential appointment. It's not a delegated attorney general appointment. If the attorney general, let me just go through the law briefly. If the attorney general had appointed somebody who already went through the constitutional confirmation process for a prosecutorial position, like one of the top positions at the Department of Justice, the head of the criminal division, or the associate attorney general, the deputy attorney general, or any of 93 United States attorneys who went through the same process, where the executive nominates and the Senate either confirms or rejects, then Jack Smith's appointment would be constitutional, but that's not what Merrick Garland did. He's supposed to be the guy that enforces and upholds the Constitution, right? The Appointments Clause requires that Jack Smith and everything Jack Smith has done be killed because he was pulled out of The Hague in an inferior position. Let me cut to the chase. That's not an American government position, his position in The Hague, number one. He wasn't confirmed by the Senate, if it was, for that position, number two. You can't just pick any lawyer off the street and say, I delegate this enormous power, funded with unlimited resources by the Department of Justice, the use of the FBI, the ability to get warrants and subpoenas and to target a candidate for president of the United States and a former president. No. So the two attorney generals, with the support of two brilliant law professors, happen to be friends of mine, one of whom a very close friend, they have filed in this court, hello, that guy is unconstitutional. And there needs to be a hearing on this. And they filed that brief with the support and contribution of two former attorneys general, McCasey under the second Bush, and Ed Meese under Ronald Reagan. My former boss, the most fantastic person I've met, other than family and you guys, but just fantastic. Landmark Legal Foundation, of which I'm chairman. But the president of the organization, who was fantastic, Pete Hutchison, a dear, dear close friend of mine, gee whiz, what is it now, 35 years, whatever it is. They filed an amicus brief, a friend of the court brief, and this is important in complicated constitutional matters. And the person who authored their brief with the assistance and contribution of the Landmark lawyers is the foremost expert in the world on the Appointments Clause in the United States Constitution, a professor. And he says this man has no constitutional authority whatsoever. Now, he says what the Attorney General can do is just move the case to an existing United States attorney. What the Meese and McCasey brief says is, no, he's out and everything he's done was unconstitutional, so the whole thing is dead. The point is, even if you appoint a U.S. attorney to take this over, it takes time for them to figure out what's taking place and so forth and so on. The brief filed by the two attorneys general would eliminate it altogether. The brief filed by Landmark would eliminate Jack Smith. but it gives the judge a way out if she's looking for one to get rid of Smith. You guys understand what I mean? Smith is out. Smith is out. And maybe a more rational person, a U.S. attorney, would look at this and say, what the hell are we doing here? Maybe not. It's a serious case. And there are other arguments about the spoliation of documents, mishandling of documents. This judge is taking these motions seriously.
Want to see more Mark Levin? Go to LevinTV.com and subscribe now.